and thank you for joining me with this whip and chat. I've got some exciting news, making an announcement shortly. So if you've been to our channel before, thank you very much for returning. It's good to see you back. And if you're just starting to watch my videos, welcome to our channel. So I've set up this channel to go alongside our Facebook group. My name is Jan, and I started a Facebook group for DAC fans in the UK almost 2 years ago. There's a DAC fans for America, and there's a DAC fans Europe. I think there's one for down under, like the Australians and New Zealanders. I think they've got their own fans group. But I decided there wasn't anything dedicated to the UK, and I wanted to create a UK group specifically for fans, so that you're not always tied with destashes, etc. from American sellers. But it's turned out much better than I thought. We're getting close now we're in our 900, so we're getting close to 1,000. We might have 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, who knows. We're very strict on who comes into our group. So if you're watching this and you've tried to enter, you need to have a UK residence address. So we will ask in the questions what part of the UK you're from, whether you're from England, Wales, Scotland or Northern Ireland. And then we'll ask what county in the UK, or if you're from London, what part of London you're from. And that's not to be nosy, that's specifically so that we only invite people from the UK. So in the event of destashes or any games that are won or anything like that, the postage is kept to UK postage only. So we're not worrying about customs, etc. like that. So you're more than welcome to subscribe to the channel, where you'll hear things going on, and sometimes you'll see the races, etc. I've uploaded. But as I said, to keep the group strictly UK, I've done it specifically so it's UK residents only. So it's not me being nosy, as I said, it's just a case of, so we've got some idea of where in the UK you are. I hope to set up some meet and greets at some point. Ill health has put me off the last couple of years, unfortunately, and I'm just waiting on a knee x-ray now. I've had nothing but grief. I had a blood clot a couple of years ago now in my left leg, deep vein thrombosis, and since then I've had lots of trouble with my left leg. So I've tried to take advice, resting it, raising it, going for walks on it, doing some swimming, and it just consistently plays up. And now I think my muscles are so tight that I've developed arthritis in my knee, and my knee is excruciatingly painful. So yeah, so I'm going for an x-ray for that in a couple of weeks. Anyway, my last whip and chat, I did mention that I'd lost my dad in March, so I was very quiet in the group. He had Alzheimer's, he had mixed dementia, Alzheimer's and dementia. He was very poorly towards the end, but he kept fighting on, and eventually his fight gave up. He got to March, he was 87, bless him, so he did well. But March was consumed with obviously the death of my father and his funeral. Then at the beginning of June, we sent his ashes out to sea. So when we were children, we used to come up to Great Yarmouth quite frequently for holidays and day trips out. We used to spend a couple of weeks at a time up here. And my dad always said that he would retire up here. Unfortunately, it never got to that stage, but we did bring him up. Me and my sister decided that he could come up to be near us in Great Yarmouth. So we made the move for him to come to a care home. The care home he was in, unfortunately, was privately funded, and once his money ran out, it was a case of the council wouldn't fund where he was, and we had to move him. But the care home where he ended up was absolutely amazing. Although it wasn't in close proximity to me and my sister as the other one was, we couldn't fault the care he received. Was absolutely outstanding. But yeah, unfortunately he passed, partly from his dementia. That played a part in it. But yeah, well, like I say, we spoke because when one of his visits, when he used to come up, was to go to the Caister Lifeboat. He supported the Caister Lifeboats, and the RNLI, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, I think it stands for. What we wasn't aware of is that Caister is voluntary service only now. The RNLI pulled out, I think, 1969, and Caister has been running voluntarily since then. Caister Lifeboats has been voluntary service since then. So it's complete volunteers, but we found out that we could actually, rather than just us sprinkle his ashes into the sea, because he had no fixed abode up here, we decided that we would send him out on a lifeboat. Absolutely beautiful. It was a lovely send-off. We didn't realise there was a full service as well. So as well as his funeral, which was really endearing, we had a send-off. Now, again, they say that you can watch from the watchtower, but we asked if we could stand on the beach and be a bit closer. So basically what happens is you put the ashes, there was about 6, I think, that went out. So basically you put the ashes on the lifeboat. The lifeboat has to, by law, has to go out about 6 miles from inland. It was an extremely windy day, especially on the coast. But it was dry and sunny, so that was good. We had dry weather for his funeral and dry weather for his ashes send off, so that was really nice. And the volunteers said afterwards, they did everybody's service from the beach, and their volunteers afterwards said it was lovely. Actually, it was more personal. They found the service more endearing on the beach than from the tower. So that was nice to hear. But yeah, so like I say, we wasn't aware of what happens, but basically we watched the lifeboat being pulled out to sea, and then we stood while they did the service for each and every member that went out on there, and then they sprinkled Dad to the sea. So he will be forever in Great Yarmouth, unless he gets washed along the beach a bit, but he will be in this area, he'll be in Norfolk area. And the good thing is, we paid a small donation, and for that they put the names of anybody that's donated on the number of their lifeboat, so the lifeboat in service. So Dad's name, among others, will go on to the lifeboat number, and he will remain on that number for the duration of the lifeboat's timescale. So, and we found out that his name will be put on the day after Father's Day, so it's even more appropriate. What was really nice is they've got a duplicate sign, as well as on the boat itself. They've got a duplicate sign in the boat shed, in the cafe, in the museum, in the shop, and also there's a massive buoy at the entrance of the lifeboat station, and there's a sign up there as well. So he'll be forever remembered, and it'll be a nice place for me and my family to go and visit and have a chat with him over a cuppa. So yeah, so that was really lovely. Today in my WIP and chat, I am going to announce now that we are doing Christmas in July. So on Sunday the 29th of June, we're going to have, it's an unsponsored event. We've done a couple of events in the group now. We've had Familong, which was fantasy and mystical themed event. Then we had Ding Dong Along, which was a Christmas themed event. And then we did Spring Alongathon, It might have got them in the wrong order, but we did Spring Along-a-thon, and as the name mentions, it's spring. It was spring themed. Now we're doing those events were sponsored by people that we use. So we had Crafting Cat UK. She sells putty and small products for diamond painting. We used Crafted Makes, who creates lovely hand-turned pens. Steve, and he's recently gone into 3D and woodworking, so he's got some laser gifts now as well on his website. We use Ashley 3D Creations, Zeus 3D Creations, and again Ashley makes some beautiful trays. So she sponsored us. Ria from I can never remember your gift shop, Ria. Personalised gifts. I will put a link in the post anyway at the end of the video. My apologies, Ria. I just can never remember your website. But yes, in the main we use those for sponsors, and those sponsors will pop up every now and again in the group. They've been given prior permission. But the Christmas in July event is completely unsponsored. So it's going to be more casual. So you don't have to have a Christmas kit to join in. But I just thought it'd be a bit of fun, especially with the UK weather as it is. I just thought it'd be a bit of fun, bringing Christmas into the summer. As I said, it doesn't have to be a Christmas kit that you're working on. We will have weekly albums as we've done before. So each week you can upload your progress, and then obviously you'll have a progress pic to look back on for yourselves and for others. Some beautiful kits came out in the last few events that we've done. It is Diamond Art Club only. We are sponsored. We did get permission from Diamond Art Club to set up the group. So one of the stipulations is that the paintings are Diamond Art Club only. We are allowed to sell other accessories and display other accessories, but the diamond paintings, licensed or unlicensed, Diamond Art Club stipulated that we only stick to their paintings. So for the event, obviously you can work on your own painting, but to actually display in the WIP album, it will be Diamond Art Club purchases only. While I'm on the subject, another reason why I've sort of been a bit vacant is I treated myself. I've got a horrendously big stash, Diamond Art Club stash, but I treated myself to a different licensed company. I won't mention them here, but I'm a bit shall I say perturbed. I think I've become, I found Diamond Art Club in July 2020. I think they started in 2018, but I found them mid 2020. And to be honest with you, I've never looked back. All my Temu, my Amazon kits, my AliExpress kits, they've all gone to rot and ruin now. They're just buried somewhere. Eventually I'll pull them out and give them away. Once you've used Diamond Art Club, it's very rare that you will find anyone else with they've got great customer service. Their drills are in-house made, so they're lovely. Their canvases are really like thick tarpaulin, really soft velvety tarpaulin. They have wonderful accessory packs, and they've got a lifetime warranty. So if you're the owner and purchaser of the kit, you have a lifetime warranty on your kit. In the event of any drills failing or popping off, or replacement drills or anything like that, it's covered under their lifetime warranty. Unfortunately, it doesn't go on when it's destashed. The kit's destashed. But any kits that are won on the Sunday Shuffle, which I as admin would order for you, they are covered under the warranty. So that's not a third party. That is they'll come directly to you, and Diamond Art Club will be aware that you've won them from the the DAC Fans UK group. So that's an agreement we've got with them. So as I said, Christmas in July, you will have to, I do apologise that my Christmas house is upside down. Unfortunately, one thing I did notice with the calendar is as you work through, the pages become quite lumpy to work on, lumpy and uneven. So what I've had to do, you can see there as I'm pressing down on December, the other months. So what I'm having to do is turn it over, and for the purposes of the camera, I couldn't have this part in my lap because then the house was too far off camera and you couldn't see. So for 100% viewing, I've put it upside down. So apologies to those people with OCD. It wasn't deliberate, it's just the way it's worked out best. So as I said, in a lead up to our Christmas in July event, I thought I would work on the calendar. I think I've only got 2, maybe 3 months left, October, November, December. I think I still need to work on. But as I said, because of the Christmas in July event, I'm going to be doing the Christmas house. So Christmas in July, basically what we're going to do, we're going to set off the event on Sunday the 29th of June, so the end of this month. As I said, it's not sponsored or anything, it's just a bit of fun. You can join in, you can pull out, you can add to the albums, you don't have to. It's all in a bit of fun, just as I said, to keep you busy over the summer. I do appreciate that August will be kids off school for summer holidays, but again, it doesn't matter. There's no race. It doesn't matter if you finish. It doesn't matter if you can't carry on. As I said, it's just a bit of fun. So it starts on Sunday the 22nd of June. It will run all the way through July, and I think it finishes bank holiday Monday in August. I'd need to check the dates on that. I can confirm afterwards. But yeah, it starts on the 29th of June. So as I said, there'll be weekly albums. I think it's normally about 8 or 9 weeks, our events. So there'll be weekly albums where you can upload your work in progress pictures, your WIPs. So we're diversified a little bit there. So as I said, the reason I haven't been very much on the channel is I've been working on this mystery kit. Now it's lovely. The picture itself is lovely. I found out what the picture is. The colours are absolutely delightful. They are amazing. It's really coming together nicely. However, I forgot how much trash other companies seem to have. Diamond Art Club, I think, have perfected their drill quality. Resin drills, and they're more or less all in shape. Out of one kit, I generally get the smallest amount of trash. However, this other kit that I'm working on, every single colour I've worked on so far, every single section I've worked on so far has had a significant amount of trash, and I'm only a sixth into it. So I've had to put it aside. I've had to put it to one side because it's such hard work to work on after doing my DACs. And as I said, because of Christmas in July event, I figured that I could work on December with you. It's nice and easy. It's a partial kit. It's nice and easy to work on, quite quick. Whether I'll finish it in this video or not, I don't know, but it will be something I complete today. Our other announcement is the Sunday Shuffle is coming back. Woohoo! So as I said, it's our birthday. It's our birthday coming up on the 23rd of June, I believe. I think it's the 23rd or 24th of June. So it's our birthday. So for our birthday event, for our 2 weeks birthday, in the lead up to the Christmas in July event, we're going to have games running every day, from Monday to Friday during that week. Again, if you want to participate, you can. It's all in fun. just little games just to keep you occupied during the day. There'll be some Guess the Artist, Guess the Kits. There's a couple of other games, Who Am I, things like that. They were just jovial games just to bring the group together. So yeah, so that will be, and then as I said, the Sunday Shuffle will be returning. I had to put it on pause because of the personal circumstances. I didn't want to keep stopping and starting, so I put the Sunday Shuffles on pause. If you've been with us for a while now, you would have seen the Sunday Shuffles. So basically, it's a raffle-based game. You pay into it. It's usually £3 an entry. You pay into the game, and then when it's full, I run a virtual race, and then the winners are chosen from the virtual race. Usually it's sort of mixed from beginning to end, but sometimes I'll do the first 5 or 6. But it's the opportunity to either win one of our sponsors' prizes, or you can win Diamond Art Club kits, mystery bundles. As I said, if you haven't seen it before, if you do a search in our group for Sunday Shuffles, there's lots of posts that come up, including some of the winners that have posted their prizes. Great fun. Everybody seems to enjoy it. But as I said, that will restart on the 22nd of June. So there'll be a pre-buy on the Friday previous, so the 20th of June, there'll be a pre-buy, so you can pre-buy entries, guarantee your entries by paying up front, and then any remaining entries will be available on Sunday the 22nd, and then that draw will lead us into our birthday week. So as I said, that week will be full of games, and then the Christmas in July event will start the following Sunday. So it's all a sort of lead up to the event there. So if you can join us, you'd be more than welcome. As I said, if you've not joined the group, pop along, put your questions in, answer a couple of questions. Don't be afraid to say hi. It's a really friendly group. It's a lovely group, lovely people in there, really helpful members. And yeah. So let's crack on. So as I said, I'm working on the Diamond Art Club calendar. That is October or November. Oh, there we go. I've got November to do. That's October. I will do the pictures afterwards, just to show you. But if I go to the beginning there, so there we go. It's 2025 calendar. Every day is, every month was a different theme. They were partial pictures. So yeah, I have done October. So I've done all the months up to October. As I said, I've got November and December, but I thought December would be good for the whip and chat in the lead up to July. One thing I did think about when I bought the calendar, I didn't buy the first calendar that they came out with. I found that the seasons were quite US based, like with Thanksgiving and things like that. This was more generalized, which I thought was better. And although it was quite expensive for a calendar in general, to be honest with you, I haven't used it as a calendar at all. I've only used it for the partial paintings. And when you remember to put your discount, some form of discount, always buy a Diamond Art Club kit with a discount. When I added the discount to it, it actually worked out that it was literally a few pounds for each partial painting. So as a whole, it actually worked out really good value, and obviously you've got the Diamond Art Club quality. The only thing, as I said, is the sponginess. I would have had a preference to do them. I'm not sure how I would have done them. Maybe unpin them from the calendar. I'm not sure. But each month runs, like the calendar month runs onto the picture. So, as I said, once you've done a few, it starts to get quite bulky and built out. So, as I said, for the value for the partial paintings, it actually worked out really good value, so I treated myself. Whether I would do it again next year, I'm not sure. As I said, from a calendar point of view, I didn't use this, but what I will probably do is cut the pictures off and just display those seasonally year after year. So as I said, partial pictures. So they come with this really thick plastic cover. So if you use cover minders, you might want to hold it back. But because this is only quite a small partial, what I tend to do is take the whole page off. And I'm left with, around the edges, it's not sticky. But where it's sticky, it's very sticky. So the drills stick lovely. I've pre-kitted up this kit. Purely for the fact that I'm sure if you've been diamond painting for a while, you'll see what kit ends up like, but we can kit up in another time. But this one was just literally for the WIP and Waffle, bit of whip and chat, just to let you know where I was at and to let you know about the announcements. As I said, I'll put the dates and links on the end, sponsor links on the end of the video. So as I said, I've already pre-kitted this up. I am using my Diamond Art Club screw-in pen. So this is a metal screw-in tip that comes with it. It's not the twist and pick that you get in the accessory pack. It's literally a screw thread, which seems to be more stable than the pushing ones. And again, I've got a Diamond Art Club tip here that is empty at the moment because I won't be using it on this partial. It's difficult on these partial ones because they're sort of randomly placed. The numbers are randomly placed. It's difficult to do any colour blocking, but because they are only small partials, they're quite quick to go. So as you can see there, I've got a threaded tip. I think this is a 6 or an 8 drill tip. I can't remember. 8, I believe. But as I said, I'll be using the single tip from DAC. I've preloaded it with some of the cat's putty. Now again, this is from last year's Crafting Cat UK's putty, so this was an advent calendar exclusive. It's a sample size. She does double the size of this for full size putties. This one is lemon and lavender, and I can assure you I thought it was going to be a real contrast between sweet and sour, but it's actually such a beautiful. I wish you could smell it. I wish you could smell it down the camera. But yeah, the scents that she adds to her putties are absolutely amazing. And as I said, this one's come from the advent calendar that she did last Christmas. And again, I thought it was appropriate to use for my whip and chat, announcing my Christmas in July event. So as I said, I've pre-kitted up some of these drills. A couple of the packets were okay, but most of the drills were quite staticky. So unfortunately, grab a sip of my tea there. Unfortunately, these are quite staticky and quite jumping beans. So if you see me sort of racing around for drills, they're a bit jumping beany, some of these. So I've got the number 5 I've cut out from the packaging here, and I'm going to make a start. So what have you been up to? Have you been? I've changed the prompt posts now. I've made some new designs. So I've changed the prompt post in the group. Again, it just keeps the group ticking over when it's a bit quiet. But this week was what's your Friday favourite, and it was your favourite food, your favourite hobby, your favourite diamond painting, your favourite music, your favourite, just basically what's your favourite. And we've had some lovely pictures of people's different hobbies. So we've got a gardener, we've got some cross stitchers. So as I said, although our group was set up for Diamond Art Club fans, obviously from a crafting point of view, you can put your other crafts up, and we do have a side chat and that is Enable, I think it's called. But again, it's a private group, so you have to be part of the group to be able to go into that chat. But again, they talk about all sorts of things in there. I do pop my head in from time to time, but they do talk about lots of things in there. So yeah, so what have you been doing? Let me know in the comments below. Is there anything that you like, excuse me, aside diamond painting? What got you into diamond painting in the first place? I think I've said before that my diamond painting experience started during COVID, when obviously we had lockdown. I was still working at the time. I was working in a car garage, in a workshop. I was on the reception. I did. It was a social enterprise, so it was run by a charity that helps people with mental health and other disadvantages. So we had some previous ex-inmates from the prisons. We had people with learning difficulties, and it was set up to help people learn some skills that they might not otherwise be able to, and possibly help get themselves a job at the end of it. So I was fortunate. I'm bipolar, and I was fortunate that somebody introduced me to the charity while I was signed off sick. And again, I started there as a volunteer. It was almost 2 years as a volunteer there. And then I was actually offered a job. And my original job there was a long job title. It was Employment and Training Development Worker. So I basically helped people create their CVs. I helped them get Microsoft Word and Excel skills. I helped them look for work. I was a bit of a mentor, if you like. Found out what they sort of liked and what they didn't like. So across the board, we had, as well as the garage workshop, so the volunteers could work in the workshop, the actual garage workshop. We had the finance side of it, so everything was run with volunteers. It was a skeleton staff that obviously held the boat, and then we had volunteers that was on a rota that used to come in, and then obviously as they got more proficient, they could extend their time there to the point where a few of them got a job, not necessarily with the charity, but a few of them went on to get work elsewhere. As I said, I was really fortunate in the fact that I was offered a job, a permanent job, which was really nice, especially after being signed off from sick for so long. It was lovely to be able to do something for myself that I've worked towards, and to be recognised for that. So, as I said, my actual job was employment and training, but then I went on to extend that, and I became a driving instructor. I was teaching the highway code to people that wanted to learn to drive. We had our own learner vehicle. I was offered to be a driving instructor, but my dad, in his earlier years, he was a driving instructor, and I remember sometimes he would come home with a mashed up car where his learner had an accident, and I don't think personally I could have withstood the stress. So what I did, I went with the learners to learn. We had our own driving school car, little Kia Picanto we had, lovely little car to drive. And I used to take our learners down from their highway code theory session, and then we used to go down and practice things like mirror signal manoeuvre. We had a car park where the charity was, so we used to just go into there, and then when the learners felt confident enough, they could start the engine and try and get some clutch control under their belt. So that was really nice. as I said, I was offered the driving instructor's job, but I didn't feel, I just thought that was pushing my boundaries just that bit too far. And I didn't want to end up back in the stress depression phase. I was confident of where I'd got to, was confident with the job that I had. So yeah, so as I said, part of my job role was teaching the highway code. I did a women's workshop where we made women aware of what their vehicle needs to be roadworthy, and in a male dominated arena, just to give them that bit of confidence to go out and speak, even if they didn't know what they was talking about, just to give them the confidence to speak as though they knew what they was talking about. So I went to a similar workshop I did a little bit of spying. I went to a similar workshop run by a well-known company. It was funny because the charity actually associated with them towards the end of me leaving. It's still running, but towards the end of me leaving there. But yeah, my initial workshop that I had was similar based, so I thought I'd go and check it out. It was free. I thought I would go and check it out and find out what the competition had to offer. And what quite griped me, actually, was the fact that they told me that my car was empty of oil and that I shouldn't be driving it. I've still got the same car. It's nearly 10 years old now. But I do such low mileage that it's still going and will probably see me through to retirement till I can't drive anymore. But yeah, they told me that my car was empty of oil, that I shouldn't be driving it, and that I needed to buy some oil there and then, and they would fill it for me. So I told them that I worked in a garage and I would get the garage to take a look, and they was like, drive carefully, blah, 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 it's empty of oil, etc., etc. But again, being a new car with all the electronics, etc., I have little lights that come on, and they come on for everything. So if my tyre pressures are low, if I'm out of screen wash, if I'm low on oil, it's got automatic windscreen wipers, it's got automatic lamps on their headlamps. So I was quite confident in the fact that I knew, obviously teaching this women's workshop myself, I was quite confident that I knew that it wasn't empty of oil. Aside the fact that they used to use my car, the workshop used to use my car as a new car to help teach oil changes for the volunteers. So there was a remote possibility that it had been done incorrectly and that they'd not refilled my oil in my car. So obviously I was a little bit dubious, but I said to the company, I said that I would get it checked out when I was back at work the next day. So I got the warnings that I need to drive slowly, need to be very careful, pull over if the engine starts overheating, etc., etc., which we do advise. We do, like, obviously if you get a red light come up in your car, it's something wrong, something it's trying to tell you isn't right. And I went into work, and not only was my oil tank full, it was very clean. So when oil in a car, I'm not sure if you're aware, but when oil in a car gets dirty, it goes brown and then turns black. It should never be, for the healthy engine, it should never get to the stage where it's black. And if you have it regularly serviced, like if anything, I still have an annual service, but at that time, as I said, they was using my car as a demo car to work on. So it had an oil change probably about 3 or 4 times a year. So I was purely confident that my car wasn't empty of oil. So yeah, so not only was the oil sump completely full, it was very green as well, as it had come out of the can. So this specific company, I don't know whether they was trying to oversell, but I did feedback that they need to offer their people that are running the course some extra invigilation. Upselling is great, but not to the point where you're going to make a disaster of the car, because obviously from there, if they had filled it on the basis that they told me it was empty, if they had put more oil in, not only would I have wasted my money, I'd be spilling oil all over the place wherever I drove, and possibly to the detriment of my engine because it had too much oil in it. So I was quite grateful for having that knowledge, because again, like I say, I've been quite lucky. Our dad being a driving instructor, him and my mum were taxi drivers when we were smaller, when we were younger. So I was brought up with the knowledge of how to maintain your car, basic maintenance on your car. So I was confident in myself. But if you'd have gone to this course not having a clue about any of it and been told that your oil tank is empty and your chances is that you could blow up your engine, I think I would have been in panic mode and would have completely followed their advice. So yeah, so that's what we basically taught the women in the women's workshop, that the basic MOT checks, we went over what the MOT entails and the basic checks for that, how to check your oil and tyres, and things like that. So that was part of my job. Another part of my job was, it sort of landed in my lap really, if you like. They started a new location which was more local to me. Where I was living at the time in Dartford, the workshop I was going to was in East London, so every morning and every evening I was stuck in bad traffic, whereas the workshop that they were opening was literally 3 miles down the road from me. So if I didn't have all my teaching things that I needed from workshop to workshop, I probably could have cycled, but I used to drive on the basis that I had all my training materials with me, and it wasn't something I could leave because I'd need it in other workshops as well, because I used to move around our workshops as necessary. So yeah, so it kind of landed in my lap that I ended up, our volunteers that we did have on reception, garage reception, either moved on or their funding run out from the company that they'd come from, and they'd moved on, and we got to the stage where I was covering reception more and more, to the point where it became my main job, if you like. I absolutely loved that job. Very social job. Very. I was proud of where I'd come from being signed off sick, thinking I could never work again. So being proud of where I'd come from, single mum to 4 sons, and then having this bipolar diagnosis put on you when they've grown up, was quite a shock in itself. But then to not be able to cope when I'd already been managing, looking after my children on my own, was quite a shock. So to actually be in the position where I had now had this full-time job that I was holding down, and to be offered such high-ranked jobs, if you like. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't think. It was like a promotion without the promotion, if you like. But yeah, so anyway, I worked on the garage reception in the main, and the guy in the workshop, John, lovely Romanian he was, and when he first came over he didn't speak very much English, but he learnt quickly, And we had a fantastic working relationship. He was a fantastic mechanic and I was a very good receptionist. Speaking from myself, but yes, I thought I was very good at the job and my customers seemed to enjoy my presence. So yeah, so that was my job in the main. Then the social enterprise started struggling with wages. Funding had run low, and they was trying to generate income, so they started selling this woman's workshop for the same price. It was £10, but for that £10 you got £10 off the garage. So in effect it was free, but it generated income for the garage. And then I was asked if I could do my highway code training in a prison, a male prison, which was really, really strange because I've never had any dealings with prisons in the past, and to actually be part of the staff that again the inmates recognised. So I was at Belmarsh prison. It was a bit of a joke because I used to say, yeah, I'm off to jail now, or I'm off to prison now. So it became a bit of a joke. I had my prison days, and again, lovely inmates. They were very respectful, used to call me Miss all the time. I asked if they could call me Jam, but they're not allowed to have really personal dealings. So and again, a few of those while I was there managed to get their parole and left. But yeah, so I was doing that. That was being extended out to prisons across London and secure units across London, which I wasn't a fan of. As I said, coming from Dartford, it got to the stage where a lot of my working day was spent sitting in traffic. I would finish work at 5:30 and not be getting home from work until like 7:30 some nights. If there was an accident on the dual carriageway on the way home or something, it was just, and I was getting up really early as well in the morning, so the days were getting longer. And then my dad was living with his partner at the time. Now she had dementia as well, she had Alzheimer's as well, and he was caring for her. But obviously with his deterioration, with his mental deterioration, and obviously his age as well, he was starting to struggle to look after her. And I'd be getting home late from work, and then he would phone me and ask if I could pop round and get some shopping for him. And well, eventually his partner went to a care home near her sister in York. And my dad didn't like institutions or anything like that, hospitals or anything. He hated, so he didn't go to see her. He said he obviously said goodbyes when she went in the ambulance. But she passed. But she passed when my dad's dementia had also set in quite a lot. So he wasn't really aware of her passing, I don't think. We had to watch her funeral. It was during COVID, so we had to watch her funeral over a video link. And I don't think my dad grasped what was going on and was just talking through a lot of it and eating sandwiches. And yeah, I don't think he was fully aware of, at that point, what was happening. So as I said, shortly after that was when we didn't put him in a care home directly. He was living on his own, but he was becoming a danger to himself. He was phoning ridiculous times of the morning. He was phoning my sister up here in Norfolk. Like I say, I was still down in Dartford at the time. he would phone my sister in Norfolk to say, could she go and buy him some coffee because it was an offer, or some tuna because it was an offer. And he wasn't grasping that she had a 3-hour drive to come and see my dad. And my other sister lives on the Isle of Sheppey. My brother lived in Chatham. So it was really becoming the onus that I started to look after him more and more. I was doing his gardening, and I started finding it quite a struggle to hold down my job, to be moving around London, to be coming home from work only to be called out to my dad quite more and more frequently as time went on. He actually ended up going to hospital with a punctured lung. He was complaining of chest pains. He'd had a fall and he was complaining of chest pains. And it turned out when he got to hospital, he didn't want to go, but the ambulance were quite persuasive, so I went with him. And it turned out he had a pneumothorax, a punctured lung, probably from his fall. So it wasn't a heart attack at all, it was this punctured lung. So he was in hospital for a couple of weeks. And we persuaded social services to not let him home. We said it wasn't safe for him to be living alone. We did have a carer popping in, but he refused. If she didn't turn up at the time that he'd arranged with her, or that she said she was going to be there, he wouldn't let her in. So, as I said, the onus became more and more on me because I was local. It became more and more that I was spending more time with him, less time catching up on my sleep and my own time. So I decided that it was getting too much of a struggle and that I would hand in my notice at work, which I did. I knew I had to work, I think it was 4 weeks notice that I had to give. But I said I would stay on long enough that they could find somebody to cover me. And it got to the stage where COVID struck, and I was working from home. Now, I think I've said this in my previous WIP and chat. When you work in a garage, when you're working in a garage workshop, it's difficult to do your work from home, and you certainly can't train the highway code unless it's a one-to-one or Zoom meetings. And if you're going to do that, you might as well structure the students to read the highway code from home, which is not as obviously as versatile as having someone standing in front of you asking questions as they arise, keeping the highway code as fun as it can be. So I said that I wanted to have my notice in, didn't have a job to go to, but that I would work my notice. And as I said, we had the crux of COVID, and working from home, and my bosses got together and said that rather than me leaving the job, they would create a redundancy. They would finalise the actual job that I had, because as I said, by then I wasn't the employment and training development worker anymore. My job had changed completely from that job title. So what they did, they closed that job post and offered me redundancy. But to get the full redundancy package meant that I had to work longer than I'd anticipated, a few weeks longer. And as I said, it just so happened it coincided with COVID lockdown. So I never actually went back after that. I did go into the office a few times. If a car was booked in for an MOT, you probably remember that it was quite strict. They had to have an appointment. They had to turn up at the set time. We had to scrub their keys down with anti-bac spray. They would have to wait outside or go away and come back. They wasn't allowed to sit in reception and have a cup of tea in a chinwag. So I found that quite hard work as well, because again, it was sort of surrounded by appointments only. People weren't, I think the government extended the MOT, so if it was due during that time, you could have an extension. So, and obviously essential works only to the cars, so the garage sort of was waning off anyway. So yeah, I said about getting another job, and then my sister said, well, why don't I, while I'm not working, sell up and move up, because my plan was to come up here to be with my family as well. Sell up and move up, and then get a job when I come up here to Norfolk. So that's what I did. I sold my flat. I had this lovely big house that I had big plans for. I sold my house, and it got right through to exchange, and then my buyer pulled out, my cash buyer pulled out. So obviously I broke the chain. We were literally on the verge of signing contracts, so I broke the chain, and my people that were selling to me didn't want to lose the house that they had, so they relisted their house. Now, I was told on Friday evening that my buyer had pulled out, and that my flat would go back on the market on the Monday. The vendors that I was buying from were too impatient. They put theirs back on the market on the Saturday and sold theirs on the Monday. And because I didn't have a definite buyer on the Monday, they decided to go with a separate offer, which I thought was silly at the time, because we were so close to exchanging contracts. But in all seriousness, it's probably done me a favour with my DVT. I had to live downstairs for a couple of weeks. I couldn't get up the stairs to bed. Fortunately, I had a toilet downstairs and a basin, so I could, and my sofa bed was downstairs, so I could sleep downstairs. I didn't have to go up for anything at the time. But I would have never have coped with a 3-storey house. And now looking back on it, the area isn't somewhere where I specifically want to be anyway. I think it was the draw of the big house and all the rooms that I had plans for. That was the draw. But long story short, I ended up buying this new build, which was tiny in comparison. But yes, my diamond painting journey started around the same sort of time as COVID, when I was offered a diamond painting kit from Amazon to review for free. I'm sorry, I did waffle on a bit there, didn't I? So excuse me for waffling. It's part of my character, I think. So yeah, I was offered a diamond painting kit to review for free. The picture itself was butterflies. The picture that came out from it, from diamond painting, no fault of my own, didn't. I think you could vaguely resemble one butterfly out of it if you really look closely. But yeah, I've got all my original diamond paintings in my portfolio, and I actually get quite embarrassed by them now when I compare them to the Diamond Art Club kits that I do. I actually feel quite embarrassed to show anybody these diamond paintings that I used to do. As I said, they're nowhere near the quality that Diamond Art Club have. So, let's change my colour over. I'm going to do this brownie gingerbread colour now. so that I'm not leaning on the adhesive. I'll come back to number 5 in a moment. Just do this adhesive bit here. So yeah, so that's how my diamond painting journey started. I actually got into it, found it was quite soothing. Alexa, play ambient music.
The playlist Rediscover Nature on Amazon Music.
There we go, we're going to rediscover nature. Yeah, so as I said, I bought a few from Amazon. I started watching YouTube videos. Never dreamed of the fact that I would be able to get to the quality where I am now. But yeah, I think it was an advert for some a free version from Diamond Art Club. As it turns out, they wasn't sending to the UK, so I couldn't get that, but I had a discount code. As I said at the beginning of the video, never buy a Diamond Art Club kit without a discount of some form or other, or use your reward points, as they actually, personally speaking, I think for value for money, I think their value for money is amazing anyway, but with their discounts you get reward points, their customer services. Personally, I can't fault them. I know there are people out there that don't like using them for whatever reason, but personally, from my point of view, I think they're great. But as I said, once I started doing those kits, it was hard then to go back to the cheaper kits. So this calendar that I'm doing now and single placing, round drills, but if I show you look at the sparkle on those drills, the sparkle is amazing, and there's hardly any trash, which is good. We love no trash. The tray I'm using, I forgot to mention, is one that you get with the kits. It's a Diamond Art Club branded tray there. So yeah, that's how I started with Diamond Art Club. And then, like I say, I wasn't aware how it worked at the time. Alexa, turn the volume down. My apologies, it's quite loud, that. Yeah, so I wasn't aware at the time. I used that initial discount, but I wasn't aware at the time how Diamond Art Club worked. And they have schemes with their rewards. With their rewards scheme, sorry, they have tiers, like levels of how much you spent in a year. Depends on what rewards you get back. So even just buying from them, you'll start as I can never remember if it's sapphire then emerald or emerald then sapphire, but you'll start on one of those tiers, and then the more you spend in the year, the more you rise to the point where you go to ruby and then diamond. And diamond members get, or ruby and diamond members get privileges where, like, they get early access to new releases. What I wasn't aware of is that it wasn't one of those, oh my god, like, I really love this painting, I must have it, because I'm never going to get it again. What I wasn't aware of is that they just restock. They're popular kits, they restock. In the main, they've changed over the time that I've been with them. So they did have kits that were notified as limited edition. So once they sold out, they've sold out. They took that off because people were using that to buy kits and sell at a profit, which goes against a lot of the grain that I think about. We're all in the same boat at the end of the day. We're all the same with money. Some of us have more to spend than others. But yeah, the the limited edition was causing chaos, because what people were doing, as I said, not everybody, but some people were doing, they were buying lots of kits and selling them at profit once they'd been discontinued. So Diamond Art Club stopped that. What they tend to do now is, if they bring out a mystery kit, that's usually a limited edition. The Christmas advent calendar that they brought out they've done 2 advent calendars now, but they were limited edition. And I actually missed out when I found out what the contents were this year. I thought this year's was better than last year's value wise, and I would have liked to get it, and I missed out. But yeah, so they, here was something stuck to me putty. So they were limited edition. So again, value for money. They wasn't too bad for what you got in there. But as I said, they'd sold out. By the time I realised what was in there, they'd sold out and discontinued it. They did have a few come back into stock, but they literally went as fast as they came in. But yeah, as I said, what I wasn't aware of at the time is that their new releases tend to be re-released. So they'll come into stock, they'll run out of stock, but they will come back into stock eventually. And I wasn't aware of that when I first started buying. And of course, I just bought absolutely every picture that I loved. I just bought or liked even. Which is what started me with my huge stash, because I could afford to do it. And I was fortunate that I could afford to do it. And what I did, I ended up just buying absolutely every kit that I wanted, to the point where I was a diamond member by the end of July. So I started at the beginning of July, and by the end of July I was a diamond member, which means that I spent $500 or the equivalent in the UK of paintings. And again, they've changed it now, but it used to be that if you spent over 100, I think it's still the thing is still, the customs charge is still there, over £135, but it used to be that you were responsible for that, whereas, and the VAT, whereas now what Diamond Art Club introduced now is the slightly higher rates, but they guarantee that you won't have customs or VAT to pay. It's all included in the price. So what you see is what you pay, which again is very generous of them. And if you spend over £60, you also get free shipping, which anyone that's attempted to send abroad will notice that the free shipping is a substantial saving. Even if you have to pay for the shipping, I think it's £21 at the moment, but it's very quick. Usually comes within a few days from ordering, or from dispatch, should I say. Again, they've used different companies. One was quite a poor failing. They changed to DHL, but DHL became really slow, and then they've now use FedEx, which again, my experience is different to others. I found DHL took about 2 weeks to get to us, whereas FedEx take about 4 days, 3 or 4 days. But I was chatting to someone in the group the other day who said that their experience was the other way around, that DHL was literally within a few days, and that FedEx was slower. So I'm not sure whether that's to do with depot or how that works, to be honest. But yeah, it was a bit weird, a bit strange. But as I said, just the savings on the postage alone, if you buy from the US, you'll see the shipping charges is quite substantial to the UK, which was another reason why I wanted a UK dedicated group. I will say here, I will point out that we're not affiliates with any other D-Stash group in the UK. We had permission from Diamond Art Club to set our group up, and we are not affiliated with any other diamond painting group. Sometimes we've been associated with a different D-Stash group in the UK, but there are no other affiliations. It's us and Diamond Art Club. And as I said, our accessories sponsors, but no other affiliates, in case anyone was wondering. So yeah, so as I said, all in all, I find with even though the cost has gone up, with the cost of the VAT and customs import charges all included, there's no worry about overspending and then getting hit with a big bill when it arrives. If that does happen to you, then you can contact DAC, Diamond Art Club, support@diamondartclub.com, to send them the invoice, and they will reimburse you for your charges. So as I said, although the kits are more expensive now, you're not tied to these charges when they arrive in the UK. But initially, as I said, the kits were very cheap to buy, because obviously we were buying them with the excess of customs and VAT. And I went a bit mad. As I said, I spent $500 worth within the first month, within the first 2 weeks, I think, in fact. So, yeah, I put myself... it's really difficult because Diamond Art Club release every week, and they've even started doing midweek releases now. And they cater for all tastes, so there'll be times when there's nothing at all that I like, and other times when I absolutely love. There's an artist, Drew Coleman, that's recently started with them. She does goddesses, and I've bought 4 of hers, the 4 that were released, but I've only actually created 2 so far. They're awaiting framing, and will be going in my bedroom. But yeah, her kits are very popular and sell out very quickly. But apart from her, there are other artists that I do like. I like David Abraham. I can't even think of his name. I'd know it if I saw it. Apologies, Mr. Abraham. But yeah, I'm kind of a landscapey person. My kits tend to be landscape. A lot of my kits tend to be landscapes. Subsequently, very large kits, which is nice to have these little small ones in between for breaks. Mini dazzles, they do mini dazzles now, which are great small kits to work on in between. Again, I've got months of the year, and I think again I've only got 2 months of that to finish, but they were lovely to work on. They do their framed minis, so again there's lots of options. The stickers, there's lots of options to have smaller projects if you want to, but in my main, I tend to go for landscapes, and as I said, they're quite huge. So at the moment, besides this, oh look, we've got a drill with, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's got a little hole in it. There's trash. Yeah. At the moment, besides obviously this camera while I'm chatting to you, but there is I've got the, how long have I been chatting? Oh, over an hour. I apologise. My waffle. Yeah, I've pulled out a couple of smaller kits. So I did do an unboxing of Hedgehog, and I did an unboxing of Chill. I was going to start Hedgehog straight away, but I chose Chill because it's partial drills and being round, it goes quite quickly. As I said, I put both projects to one side to work on this mystery kit from a different company, but as I said, the picture is lovely. I can't deny that the picture is sparkly. The colours are very, very substinct. Is that the word? Very prominent. Lovely colouring. But as I said, the trash compared to Diamond Art Club, I don't know if it's just that kit specifically, but the trash I'm getting from there is absolutely horrendous, and it's making it quite a chore. Although it's lovely to see it come into life, it's quite a chore to work on, to be honest. And I'm not enjoying it, so I did put that to one side last night so I could work on Chill. Hopefully that'll be finished in a few days, and I can do a post review on Chill. I deliberately won't, obviously it's a mystery anyway, but I deliberately won't mention the other company, purely for the fact that we're a Diamond Art Club channel. But yeah, obviously I'm not saying don't buy from anybody else, but as I said, it was not a costly mistake. The kit was very reasonably priced, I feel. I prefer to buy mysteries when I actually know what they are, which I do now, know what the picture is, but at the time I went in a bit blind, so I wasn't even sure what I was buying. So if I'd have only bought that and not been working on Diamond Art Club kits, if I was working on the cheaper kits, I'd probably say it was great. And as I said, I can't fault the picture. The placing, it's square drills, so the placing is coming together lovely. I'm just not happy with the quality of the drills. So as I said, it's, whereas I'd get a small amount of trash from my DAC kits, I'm getting that amount of trash in just one section on this other licensed kit. So I won't be buying from those again. I've also got, the company is non-existent now, but I've also got 3 pictures from a different company. They've actually gone into, they ceased trading now. And again, I'm a bit scared. I don't know why I shouldn't be fearful of my own purchase, but I'm a little bit scared to do them because we've just been spoilt with Diamond Art Club. The end. It's like there is no comparison, in my opinion, with Diamond Art Club kits. That's just, I joke and say I'm a DAC snob, but it is how I feel. I just feel that their kits are they're very clean, the drills are very lovely, the adhesive is sticky, hardly any trash. I love the warranty. And as I said, from the point of view of the value point of view, I think even the value, I think, is a great value company. I'm going to do one of these smaller numbers now, just so that it looks like I filled in a bit more than I actually have today, and then I'll wrap up my chat. So, ending this video, I am going to say I will put pictures up at the end, and I will link our sponsors, our group sponsors. Oh, that's a weird one. Got 2 rounds in the same, sharing the same circle there. I wonder if I can fit that in. There we go. So I will put links in the video post there. But yeah, as I said, comment below what got you into diamond painting yourself. This is like a pea green. This is like working with peas. What got you into diamond painting? Do you have other crafts that you enjoy? Do you put diamond painting to one side to work on other crafts? Do you stick to one painting, or do you have multiple WIPs? Just let me know in the comments below. I'd be very interested. Is there any particular kit that I may be able to do an unboxing for, that I might have in my stash already? Is there a kit that you'd like to see that I can do an unboxing for, a bit more prepared than I have done with previous unboxings? I always seem to forget something with my previous unboxings. But yeah, if you like the content that I'm sending out, please like, and if you want to, you can subscribe to the channel so you will be notified of any updates to the channel. As I said, I will be sending up some pictures of our previous events and then this time round, and also there'll be a couple of the live races, because Facebook lives expire after 30 days now. Then there will be winning races on our channel going up. But as I said, definitely the pictures. It's just somewhere else to look at the pictures, and what I'll do is put them in storybook order. So, as I said, you'll be able to see the progress from week to week from the different members' work. So, as I said, let me know what you think. Let me know what's your favourite painting, what's your favourite hobby, what's your favourite, do you have other crafts, how do you do your diamond paintings? Do you have a set order that you're going to do them in? Are you working on anything for a family member as a gift to anyone? Please let me know. I'd be very interested to find out what you're all up to. And as I said, if you could like and subscribe to the channel, that'd be really helpful. And if you want to join, you search us for DAC Fans UK. As I said, it's a private group, and you just need to fill in the answers. Just answer a couple of questions. So you'll get a drop down of, do you live in England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland or Wales? And what county are you? If you're in London, could you please put what borough you're in? As I said, it's not for any data purposes. You're not going to get spammed. It's just purely so that we can check that you are in the UK before you join our group, so that we're not sending out to people who are not in the UK, especially on Games for Winning. As I said, Sunday Shuffle will be returning the 22nd of June, so look out for that and the pre-buy. Then the week following will be that week. During that week is our birthday week, our second birthday week, so we'll be running some games on that week, and then it will flow into our event starting on the 29th of June, called Christmas in July. So, and that will also be posted in the group. So I hope I didn't waffle your ears off there. I did go a bit off tangent again, but I hope I wasn't too much waffle there. My apologies for the sort of rocky music that's supposed to be ambient. I did have some ambient music playing. We're expecting rain. Got yellow warning for thunderstorms this afternoon, so that'll be interesting. I love listening to the rain. So there we go. That's all my number ones done. So I will continue doing this at a later date. I'm going to cover it up now because, as I said, I've got other things that I want to work on. But thank you for joining me. As I said, I will put links in the channel. Let's show you my work so far on this calendar while I'm still here, and then let's see me doing the pictures afterwards. Let me find. So So here we go. So let's go from the beginning here. Oh, so we've got our 2025 Seasons of Sparkle 12-month diamond painting calendar. So this was January. See if I can zoom you out. Oh, zoom you out a little bit there. There we go. So this was January. Check out that sparkle, sparkly snowman. And then we've got, so obviously you've got your calendar you can use if you want to. So then what I like about this is the picture is on the actual calendar bit. So as I said, what I'll do is trim these up afterwards and just have the pictures up seasonally. So there's my sparkly love truck. Very red and pink. And then in March, which was kind of spring-like, I had a watering can with some flowers. Look at the sparkle on that. Can you genuinely tell me that you get sparkle like that from another company's drills? Maybe you do. I'm loving it. So then on to April. One of my son's birthdays in April. Got a little Easter bunny. Easter was in April this year, so we've got Easter bunny with his basket of eggs and the birds flying around. So as I said, this is partial, so none of this was sticky. Only with the placement where the drills go was sticky. So less likely to pick up fluff, etc. Fluff and hair. And then we've got May. It had like a spring bouquet on a bicycle. I'm just loving the sparkle on this. All those flowers catching the light there. And then we've got June, which was heading into summer, a bit nautical themed. So as I said, last year's calendar I found was quite US based with Thanksgiving, etc. Popping off there, a bit crowded. With Thanksgiving as pictures and stuff like that, but this one I found was really lovely. And it's been a delight to work on. As I said, the only gripe I've got is that you have to put one page out at a time to work on, otherwise it's quite a bumpy road. Oh look, who wouldn't want to be there now? So what's this? This is July. Holiday season. So as I said, this Christmas we're having Christmas in July, but the calendar is that coconut or melon with your cocktails in it. And then into August, we've got a lovely mermaid there, look. Under the sea, under the sea. You've got a little mermaid, all the fish around her. And then September, which is my birthday month, quite autumnal. So, yep, September, Mr. Owl. I've got an aversion to owls. I've got a few owls in, a few owl kits in my stash. So as I said, this is all single placed because it's very difficult to colour block with the way that the drills are laid, the placement of drills in these partial kits. Well, not all partial kits, but in this style of kit. And then we've got October for Halloween. So I have Mr. Ghosty out. Looks like she's wearing a dress. There's a woman ghosty. But yeah, how colourful and sparkly is that? And then, as I said, November I still need to do. Oh, back there. November I still need to complete, and that's a cornucopia, I think that's called. So again, this area here, all of this, I think this is going to be quite colourful to work on because there's lots and lots of different areas here, but very autumnal. I probably would have said this was more September, October with the colouring, but cornucopia with the different veg in there for November. And then, as we've been working on today, my Christmas gingerbread cottage. So I've done most of the roof there. I've got the outline to do still, but I'll save that for another time. So as I said, thank you very much for joining me. My sparkly Christmas house coming together there. And thanks for joining me. And I will speak to you all soon. Have a good evening, day, afternoon, morning, whenever you're watching me. Bye for now. Bye-bye.